Hi, and welcome back to the Drama Coach podcast. This series, we're focusing more on teens and young adults, those of you who are starting to take acting more seriously and wondering what the industry actually looks like. Today, I'm joined by Kate Harbour, a hugely experienced actor and voice artist whose career has spanned theatre, recorded media, television, film and animation, though not always in the conventional on-screen sense. Kate is perhaps best known for her voice work in much-loved animations, including Bob the Builder, Shaun the Sheep and Octonauts, among many others. She also runs acting for animation workshops in London, Manchester and Bristol, helping actors explore this brilliant and highly skilled area of the industry. In this episode, we're diving into the world of voice acting, what it really involves, how you actually get started, and what young actors often misunderstand about it as a career path. So, let the conversation begin. Kate, thank you for being on and joining me today.
Absolute pleasure.
So for anyone who might not know your work, can you tell us a little bit about sort of your journey, particularly into voice acting?
Okay, so the journey into it, right. I started playing about with my voice. I was mucking about with my voice when I popped out, basically. I found a diary actually recently, my mum, and it was about, she's actually making sounds already and she's mimicking us. So that was interesting to find. Yes, I always just liked mimicking my friends and my family and also, stars on TV a long time ago. So I'm not going to mention any of the people that I used to, because no one's going to know. But yes, just taking off a lot of people and actually just trying the sounds, I think. I think that's what it is. It's just a melody that I was able to sort of gather in my ears. The process that I had was I was able to mimic it and repeat it. And so it sort of started from there, basically.
Oh, that's lovely. I love that because, again, our audience are going to be those people going, is this for me? Is this what I'm into? I think it is. I'm doing these things. So that's really lovely to hear. So what do people think of voice acting when they hear voice acting? Because I know a lot of young people think of cartoons. How accurate is that? And is there more than just cartoons?
Well, in my world, it's mostly animation, mostly sort of acting-based voice work. But in the grander scheme of things, there's an awful lot to it. So, for instance, you've got animation, as you know. There's audiobooks, which, of course, involves characters. There's radio drama, comedy, There's also corporate stuff, commercials, cinema stuff, IVR, continuity, all sorts of different genres, also learning, training videos and that sort of thing. So there's masses to it, masses. It's endless. Some of the areas of it is becoming a little more constrained because of the AI situation.
I wonder if
and that is because I would say IVR, and that's interactive voice response. When you pick up the phone and somebody says, hang on, we're with you in a minute, that type of shindig. Unfortunately, that seems to be the first port of call for people, replacing that with AI, just because they think that that's the quickest way of doing it. Actually, it isn't, because a really professional voice artist will be able to just do that very quickly, answer what you need. It'll have a human response. But, anyway, this is the big discussion.
It'll have warmth, yeah.
Yes, from a personal point of view, I prefer that anyway. So there's masses to it. As I say, I think I more come from an acting perspective. So it's more for me about character and expressing characters within a story.
And that's the fun part, right?
Well, for me, it's,
for me, and I think most of our
boat.
listeners. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's just fun. And I think that's key. I think it's very important for people to remember that because of all the pressures that we have outside and from AI and everything else, you've really got to go for something that really gets you going, that you love, that it just pours out of you, that you need to do it. Yes, we could get forensic and, drill down into, right, there's that bit, and that's what I want to do. And that's absolutely fine. And there is a market for that. But from my perspective, I can't necessarily, well, I can relate, but I have to go with something that feeds the passion and that keeps that going, because we've got so many different aspects out there that are trying to thwart us in our job. And it's not an easy job. It is not easy, because you're constantly second-guessing yourself. You're constantly checking whether you're, up to the minute. You're constantly checking, have I said that with truth? Has that come from a truthful place? Am I any good? Actors thing, that sort of stuff. So, yes, in short, there's much more to it than you might think.
Absolutely. And we'll delve into bits of that as well. But your idea of it not being easy dips nicely into my next question, which is voice acting an easier way, in quotation marks, into the industry? Or is this a misconception? What do people underestimate about voice acting? There's sort of two questions in one there for you, Kate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't actually think that most people think it's easy, do they?
No, I've just heard bits and bobs of some people thinking, I'll do that. I'll start there. It's easier. I think because they're thinking of just one media, because they're getting rid of the camera.
Yes.
So is it easier for young people? But I think
no.
Good.
No, because it's almost harder because you have to absolutely live, breathe, feel, and this is the big thing for me, the stories and the characters that you are portraying. Otherwise, you might as well just plug an AI in, So it is about really understanding, firstly, yourself, knowing how you tick, exploring how you can create and get your vehicle to express itself. It's all about truth, isn't it? Genuine. You can hear it. You can absolutely hear it. Even for sort of commercials and corporate work, you have to be engaging and interesting, even if you're talking about a rather dry subject, And the key to it is finding the curiosity and the interest in anything that you're saying. So for me, that's a lot easier, for instance, on say medicals. That might sound a bit weird, but medicals that I've done a few of, talking about bloods and the newest drug or whatever. I personally find that rather science subjects fascinating. And so if you're interested, the audience will definitely hear that, which is the idea, because if you're engaged, they will be too. So you know that phrase, if you're happy, why don't you tell your face? Something like that.
Very good. Yes, tell your face, yeah.
Well, it's...
Tell your voice.
You have to just feel it so that you can express it, because we can hear it. I mean, I think that's partly one of the things that I guide in my workshops is, confidence. Confidence in your facility is key. So if you don't necessarily expand your horizons and try things, learn things, open up the door to everything, you're cutting yourself off, because if you're asked to do something, you haven't quite got the confidence, and therefore confidence is audible. It is absolutely audible. You know it, don't you, when you can hear somebody kind of phoning it in, as it were, that they're not really committed to it. They're just saying the words in a sort of melody that they've been taught, or a melody that is out there that has a phrasing that frankly just turns you off.
Yeah.
There are ways. Well, there are ways of doing it, aren't there? And there are ways that are taught, that you come up on this line, down on that one, and always have an upward inflection, or this, that, the other, or smile. Smile is key with a lot of it. But for me, it's got to come from here. If you're not able to connect with how this drug is working, or how that situation, whatever it is, then how on earth can the listener connect? Because they don't believe you. But that's to say that's not, the be all and end all. Because of course, even when I've been doing it for years, I know when I'm not. No, didn't believe that, Kate. No, rubbish. Think again.
The interesting thing is, you've said is I know. I think it's harder for the younger ones when they don't know. And I've talked a lot about listening back or watching back.
Yes.
And getting over the cringe that they tell me to start with, so that you can watch or listen analytically. And that's a hard place to get to. And you're clearly there now. You can watch, you can listen and know straight away. I think that's hard. And you've mentioned confidence there as a key skill. And I absolutely agree, for all of acting, not just voice acting. So it's lovely. It molds together so well. What are the other skills needed? So we're talking about, there's listening back, there's confidence. What else is needed to be a successful voice actor?
I believe a good actor, good voice actor. That's the key. Is one that's able to lift the words off the page, and make them compelling. to the listener. The desire is now, though, not to have a sort of announcery feel. It's much more about being what they would call the natural read, whatever that is. The natural read to me is just being as much of yourself as you possibly can. And I have trouble with this. I have trouble with that area because I'm generally employed for the character work that I do, but also with the medicals and things. It's more about I have what you call a standard RP accent, which isn't necessarily flavour of the month at the moment.
So received pronunciation, if someone's hearing that for the first time, because I have had, especially we've got a few listeners in America and they don't always know whereas we're quite used to saying, yeah, I'm quite RP. Probably taught myself as a young girl because I didn't like my West Country accent to be RP, and now it is my natural accent. So yes, sorry, Kate, I interrupted. So
no, that's fine.
RP.
That's the thing. I mean, my pet peeve actually really is when you can't understand what the person is saying because they've got such a relaxed attitude. But that's probably a bit old-fashioned.
Oh, I'd be the same.
So diction, darling, diction.
Yes. All my classes, any of my students listening to this. Yes.
But then again, that's something that for me, I have to sort of dial down because you definitely, you have to have that feeling of it being natural and relaxed. But it's a weird thing, isn't it? Because a lot of people might say to me, oh, you've got such a posh accent. Well, is it? Or maybe it is. I don't know. But, you can dial it down. You can soften the edges a little bit. You can soften your T's and D's and you can be a little less precise with your wording, so it just falls out of your mouth a little bit like that. That's the other way of doing it. So it's a fine balance. I mean, I don't always get it right. The thing is with this is that I'm constantly training and learning and listening to my peers, which I find it fascinating. The one thing that I think a quite nice thing is to know that the voiceover community does seem to be very supportive. We are all supportive of each other, and I think that leads me to something, which is that everybody has their own individual fire, right? They've got their own voice box. No one's the same as you. No one. Unless you're mimicking, of course. But so you need to celebrate that and understand who you are, where you are first. Don't try to fit into these slots. Just sit into your natural place. It's a bit like, the stereotype casting or whatever it is, that you have to know your demographic, your place in acting world, the things that you might be put up for. And that changes, doesn't it? With age. Yes. So basically, yes, it's about constantly learning, but you've got to, it's more about learning about yourself first, especially at a younger age, understanding your likes and your dislikes. You're understanding your motivations, because then you'll be able to connect with this other person's motivations. And even if you can't, there's always going to be something in that script, in that character, that you can relate to in your own truth. And you don't have to think about it forever, otherwise you get stuck with that. But it's just in a bit of the prep beforehand, relating to the character that you're doing. And I think that relates actually definitely in the tuition, the kind of coaching that I do one-to-one, as I do that with people when they've been to my workshop, but just because it's quicker, that they know who I am and that, we've got a relationship already and that we can start from there. But it's about connecting your own experience, your own life experience, who you are, to the characters. So when they're developing their characters, I ask them to, what's your favourite this? Or how do you feel about that? And what's your motivation here? So that we can then distill that down and go, okay, should we put that sort of liking into a sort of low resonant character, or should we put it into a medium resonance or a high resonance? So we go from that. I kind of stick to the low, medium and high, which gives you a nice ladder to work from. And when you do that, you can start to build your characters for a reel, which is what you need to kind of do, really. So yes, it's not an easy start, this business, but teens, read aloud every day. Get used to hearing your voice so that you're comfortable. Listen back to yourself and notice when you're engaged with what you're saying, and perhaps maybe putting on an effect. As long as you're conveying the story or the subject in an engaging and truthful to you way, you're halfway there.
This is brilliant.
Yeah. and that's it.
Let's talk a bit about equipment that these teens and early 20s might need, because this comes up time and time again. And I know I've experimented with bits, and I can see you in your lovely booth there. Tell us a bit, Kate, what do people need, or what can they start with? There's so much out there that they could have, but what do they need? What are the basics, and what are the other levels that they could have?
Well, I mean, when you're first starting out, it's very hard. And also, it really is important to not think that you've got to go and spend loads of money on kit before you've discovered yourself and before you've discovered what you can do, what your strengths are. Then we get on to, look, I know, I'm just desperate. I want to do these characters. Let me get them down properly. Well, you just start with a USB mic, just one that you plug in, to your laptop or whatever, or your phone. The phones nowadays are extraordinary. So you can do a voice recorder. There are all sorts of different apps you can choose. What I'm not going to do is recommend specific items, because I just don't have that. I think it's not a good idea. What I can talk about, though, is the space that you're in. So when you're first starting, you want to create as much of a dead sort of space around you as possible. Not echoey, I mean, and not boomy. So a lot of people do, pillow forts and that sort of thing. So they put pillows either side and a duvet over. Make sure you're able to breathe, which is quite key, really. And
it's hard, making it hard work, isn't it?
Yeah, it does actually, especially if it's hot and you're on tour or something, and you're doing all that and it's baking. So yes, that's not so cool. But you start off with that. Listen back as well to hear the difference, and then you'll start to get, your ear will be a bit more in tune with what sounds good and what doesn't. Then if you're, you've done it a little bit, you're a bit versed in the, voiceover, you're starting to pick up some jobs maybe from those pillow fort days, you might then consider getting your decent microphone. However, it's more about the space you're in, actually. So it's more about properly soundproofing an area, or having a cupboard with clothes in it to deaden the sound, somewhere that's a bit more comfortable. There are all sorts of different things that you can go and buy out there. There's sort of, you can stick your head in a box type scenario. There's from my perspective, I was very lucky because I have a husband who is very good at DIY, and he helped me to create my cupboard under the stairs.
Hey, we love a helpful husband.
Yeah,
I've got one of those.
Yeah. And there are many, many ways that you can do it. And there are lots and lots of places where you can look it up on Google, how to create your space properly soundproofed. There are all sorts of things that you can go and do. You can go and find people who are selling these tiles, the spongy soundproof tiles. But what Ollie did for me was he built proper kind of it's almost like a room within a room. So it's like a tank in a way. But it's only wooden battens, soundproofing, and more soundproofing, and bit of all sorts of other bits of equipment, which I can't remember the names of. It will cost a bit to do that. But if you do have a handy DIY person, then that's perfect. And the more soundproofing, the more deadening you could do, the better. So I have a sort of curtain that you can buy that does do what you're kind of doing with your clothes around you. But there's also carpeted on the walls.
Yes.
And also you need to make sure that you haven't got the sort of boomy, echoey space under your feet where the thing is. So there's lots of different ways that you can do that, but that's the key, is the room. Whatever room you have then will dictate what microphone you get.
Yes.
So when I first got this booth, which actually, by the way, was only just before lockdown, and because I was always in studios, and I always, and I was a bit worried about the technical side of things and all of that. But I learnt how to edit. I learnt how to do these things. I much prefer to go into studios to be with a human being. And so I was able to actually start working. And unbelievably, I did actually do a couple of episodes of Octonauts under here, and I did Flight Before Christmas for Shaun the Sheep with Timmy's mum under here. I did all sorts because the equipment was good. I did actually have some good kit. Now, I'll get back to what I was trying to say, which is that the microphone that I first started with, before I did all of that, wasn't right. It wasn't right because it was a condenser mic. it picks up too much.
I think that's what I've got at the moment. Yeah.
I was very, very much persuaded. Well, I kind of asked around with some engineers what would be the best thing to do. And they said a dynamic mic. So I now work with a dynamic mic. So if you look up those two, they're very different. It's much more because of the small space that I have. And it's more about the space that you have than your microphone to start with. So actually, if you get that right first, you can then decide where or what it is that you might need to spend.
Could you talk about that space, Kate, in general? So are we thinking smaller is better and padded, as soundproofed as you can be? Obviously, you still want to move, don't you? It's hard to put yourself in
an
a really
ideal
tight
world.
space.
I'd have a bigger space, and I'm hoping to expand into the extension soon so that I can actually have. I mean, I can stand up in here, but it's not great. It's not super duper for me, and I would love to expand that, but it is finances. And so yes, in an ideal world, you would be able to get yourself a booth that you could stand up in. But for everyday, day-to-day things and needs must, and you can't get into the studio, this has worked fine. You definitely need to have an engineer to maybe come in and double check that everything is working properly. And I do have some recommendations that I'll put in the show notes, perhaps, if you can do that.
Perfect. Yeah, that would be great. I can, absolutely.
I'll tell you who they are, actually. It's Helen and Rob B, and they're BEE, helping voiceovers to be seen and heard. But if you go onto their website, which I've just put there, they're the nicest people in the world. And Rob does what he calls his tickling tours. Doesn't sound very good, does it, really? Actually, you might have to cut that out.
That's all right. It's okay. We'll hear about it in context.
Yeah. So the tours are basically when he's going around, he says, look, do you want me to come and check your studio, make sure everything's tip-top and that you're firing on all cylinders and there aren't any kind of glitchy sounds that are going on, and sort your EQ out and all of that. So they do that for obviously you have to pay them for that.
Yeah, of course.
But so there are things, what I want to try and explain is that there are things and there are people that can help you to get set up properly, to really make sure that you are, as good as you can be in the technical side of things. And then you can hopefully forget that and just get on with it and get on with doing the job, which is key.
Just a quick cutaway from me, as I'm genuinely thrilled that Scene Tribe is sponsoring this episode. Because what Kate's been talking about throughout this conversation, connection, collaboration, and building real relationships in the industry, is exactly what the platform is built for. Scene Tribe is a new creative industry network where actors, voice artists, crew, and creatives can build profiles around the work they've actually done and the people that they've worked with. You can find out more at scenetribe.com. Right, back to the episode.
So yes, there's so much to it. And if you are thinking about voiceovers as a career, from my perspective, I'm an actor. So I'm coming at it from that angle. And quite honestly, I'm not the best business person.
I think a lot of actors are not. I think something came up about tax. I was like, I need to have somebody on soon, sort of business for actors.
Yes.
And I've got
the
someone
point
in
is
mind.
that's partly probably why I haven't got as much voiceover work as others. Because they're doing it 24/7. They have their business model. They've got everything set up. They're selling their voiceover capabilities in their kit, their full kit. I mean, this is doing myself down because I'm saying,
Yeah, because
I'm
you
not
say
ready.
I don't
But
get much. I see you on the outside as having loads.
Yes. I mean, obviously it's different because I'm working in other studios. And I'm going to places. I'm actually, physically in the space with the director and all of that. But I do work from here. I do. But I know that I could do better, folks, if I had my business head on. And it's always that thing that I'm about to focus in on, because I know exactly who to go to. And there are people that I would pay to help me with this. It's because, well, there's many reasons to it, but life gets in the way and also jobs get in the way. And I'm out there doing jobs. So I would say, I'm being very honest here.
Yeah, this is great.
I just think that if you are serious about doing voiceover work as a jobbing VO, you need to be a good business person. You really do need to nail that so that you can promote yourself better. I'm not doing it yet. I will be, right? Watch this space. I'm 55, folks. Do it now. right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I
Because-
think it's easier to do now.
Yeah.
There's so many more ways to connect than there
Yes.
were when either of us were training. And those actors, those voiceover artists, get those connections now. Make them, keep them, be a good person and a good friend and good to work with. All of that will
All of
help
that.
your business. I'm no business coach, but I know that
Yeah.
those things matter.
They do.
And really help. So yes, if you're listening to this and you're just thinking about getting started, that's such good advice. Don't neglect the business side, because we're all creative and we get very excited about being characters, doing the jobs, but forget, and I've always said I don't want to run my own business, and now here I am as an actor,
Well, we're
promoting
all
myself and
having to do that,
connecting. Yes.
aren't we? I mean,
Learn it soon.
Yeah, because we're having to do so much now. We're having to be everything because of the self-tapes, I mean.
Yeah, well, the change since COVID, yeah, is a
Yeah.
big shift.
You've got to be your own lighting designer, props, camera angles,
Yeah.
DOP,
Yeah.
cinematographer. Actually, you're not, because the best way, of course, is the simplest way. Just get your lighting
Yeah, I've
right,
said
and
this
you
lots.
hopefully be okay. But I'm still learning in this. I'm still, I'm not that experienced in behind the camera in terms of on camera. I am very experienced behind the mic, and I'm happier when I'm on stage.
Yes.
Because it's what I know, and
Yes.
it's because it's how I was trained. I mean, actually, I was trained as a dancer, and that's probably why I come at things from a physical place. So I tell stories with
yeah.
my body. So that's how I get into characters. It's very much a physical connection, physical connection, and the mind-body connection for me is key with all of the voice work that I do. And that's partly what I encourage when people come to my workshops, is it comes from a physical place, and it's finding that, which does set us apart, doesn't it, from AI?
Absolutely. Yes, you're quite right. It can never come from a physical place. That's lovely. I was chatting to someone this morning about AI, and I said, I need some time to get my thoughts together, and it is coming up more and more in different elements in the podcast. But that's beautiful that you've just hooked onto there, as it's never going to... Myself as a drama teacher and dancer before that as a youngster. Yes, you're right. A lot of my characters and my thoughts and feelings come from the body, and I perhaps hadn't realised that. And that's what I'm always encouraging students to do. You're right. AI can never do that. You've stepped on a gem there, Kate. Thank you.
Well, no, it's fine. I mean, I really do feel that. And I'll go back to what I said before, is that nobody has your voice box. No one also has your experience, your life experience. Even if you're very young, and I would say that, with much respect, very young to me is 18. Very young to me is anything that's below 55, frankly. And I celebrate being 55, by the way.
Yes.
So I'm lucky to be here.
Good.
So, yes. But life experience, any life experience, your experience that you tap into, it's unique to you, and your voice is unique to you. So exploring it and finding out what it can do as well, that I think is ever present, and it's going to be so important going forward for people. Because if we don't explore the best of ourselves, how can we compete with this machine? It's our USP, our unique selling point.
Yeah.
Is you. That's who is going to win in the end. Hooray!
Yay! I love that. It's very positive. Kate, can you tell us a bit more about the audition process and what it looks like, particularly today? Obviously, you and I have tapped into it. Used to be different. What does it look like today for voiceover? The audition process, how competitive it is compared to on-screen acting, or you can take those separately if you like. Tell me a bit about voiceover auditions.
Yeah, voiceover auditions are interesting. When you say voiceover auditions,
I want to say artist. Yeah,
no, it's fine,
because it's not all voiceover. There's so much.
Any audition to do
artist.
with your voice that you're only using your voice for. It's firstly, again, it's incredibly competitive.
Yes.
There are more people doing it now. There are more people who, dare I say it, aren't particularly good. And the reason for that is because they think they can just do it.
Okay.
I can do that. My dog does voiceovers, somebody said to me once.
My cat's come in. She wants to
hello. So yes, it's The key to any of it, though, is it's practice and knowing yourself, as I said before. Some voiceovers or voice actors, they're doing several auditions a day because they belong to certain things like pay-to-play sites, which is you pay to actually be involved in any of the auditions areas. I'm not decrying that at all. I mean, I think that's a very good thing. You get the practice in, so that could be quite a good thing. But there are places that are free to do that. It is practice. Also, daring to fail, huge. Get people to critique your work, though, as well. Don't be scared. Just get it out there and ask other people's ears to say, and be honest, to say, that didn't quite land. What are you trying to say here? So, get to know your particular strengths and perhaps kind of what genre of voice work might suit you best. As I said before, I've got a standard RP, so I tend to work a lot in, it lends itself pretty well to medicals and some commercials, etc. But my forte basically has just been, from the acting perspective, and that's radio, comedy, animation, games, and ADR, which of course is automated dialogue replacement. That is when, say, for instance, a film shoot's gone a little bit awry and there's an aeroplane that's come over or something, and they've needed to redo that. Or it's background artists. For instance, I did one recently, and it is out now, so I can say it. Oh, goodness, I can't remember the name of the thing. But it involves sheep and Hugh Jackman, which is marvellous.
Brilliant.
So that was fun doing that. I did a little bit of ADR loop as well for Chicken Run, as well as doing specific voices for that. And that was funny, actually, because we were basically a whole bunch of actors in this room and mics above us and in front of us. And we were basically going around in the circle, clucking at each other.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
See, you can get paid for that.
That was
How fun.
Yeah, you can get paid for that. So yes, there's so many different aspects of that. But audition-wise, I come back to the confidence thing. You have to just get on with it. Listen back to yourself. Do it. But then once you've done that audition, let it go. Don't even think about it. Don't think about it. Because if you need to build up that resilience as well for auditioning, and that comes into acting as well. Sometimes it's got nothing to do with whether you are talented or whether you can do it. It is just whether the director decides that person is the right fit for this other group that I've got in mind. Or I've already cast that one, that person, she's great, but doesn't quite fit. I've had that very experience very recently with a BBC job. And I was so excited. I really, really wanted to do it. And I did recalls and several callbacks. And I'd offered all sorts of different accents and different things, Liverpudlian to Welsh to this, to that, to the other, Northern, and different types of resonances and ages. But I didn't cut the mustard because I wasn't the right fit for their particular.
Yeah, it wasn't that you didn't cut the mustard. You could have cut any mustard.
Well, yeah.
But it didn't fit in that puzzle.
It didn't fit for that moment.
Yeah.
And those are the breaks, unfortunately. And also, yes, we need to find room for newer artists as well. And I understand that. Obviously I've been doing this for about 30 years. So, come on, step aside, Kate, give someone else a go. Yes, I will. I will, and I'll try and encourage, and that's what I'm doing. I'm encouraging others to do it.
But you're training them as well, which is wonderful. So you're training people, encouraging people.
Yes.
So that's wonderful. And I think if anyone else has a similar experience in that they've had recall after recall, they've offered loads, they feel proud about the work that they've shared, I would like them to come away from that feeling positive and going, well, I've made a great connection. Those at the BBC that heard me do all of that know how capable I am, and I might be right for the next thing. I really try to encourage these young performers to see all of this process always as a win.
Yes.
And because it can be so hard, and you're so right, and I say this all the time, send it, forget it.
That's it. Yep.
But if we can get that through to them now, I think it will really, really help. Yes. Is there any technical elements they need to know for auditions? Is there any kind of real do's or don'ts if they're recording this from their pillow fort at home and their plugged in mic? Are there any kind of top tips or do's or don'ts for submitting those auditions?
Yeah, I would definitely say it's important to read the brief every time and make sure that when you're labelling your tracks, you label them exactly as they want them. You also either slate or don't slate. Slating is basically your ident, your I'm Kate Harbour and blah, blah, blah. Some people do that and some people don't. If they don't ask for it, don't do it. If they
That's a good tip.
specifically ask for a slate, you do the slate.
And beginning or end, Kate, for your slate?
Well, if they're asking me to do it, I do it at the beginning. Because if they're going through a whole heap of things, they need to know, oh, right, who's that?
Even if it's, say, a specific accent or character, because I know there's different thoughts for an acting, I was going to say interview, audition. And a lot of people, and I've swapped, I used to slate at the beginning of my self-tapes and now I do it at the end because they're maybe quite dramatic and I don't want to be my sort of cheerful, normal self. So I've swapped, but again, like you say, if they're asking, well, perhaps if they ask for it specifically at the beginning or at the end, it's clear and it's obvious. But if they ask for a slate and don't tell you where, so you'd like to say your name at the beginning, so they've got that in. Well,
I don't really, because I can't stand it.
I know it feels fake, doesn't it? Yeah.
But actually, a lot of the time, a lot of auditions at the moment are wanting to hear your natural voice, your natural read of your name and who you are and where you come from. So that's partly why they get you to do that, is so that they can hear your natural voice. There's no one way that's the correct thing, but it's just being very aware of how they've presented the audition to you. Read absolutely everything that you can on that thing, because if something has gone wrong and you've put dot doodah or dot fiddly dee, they're going to not listen to it. Yeah. They're just going to bin it because
they've not got time. They've got loads of submissions.
They have thousands of people. So just label it properly.
That's good.
And do that. And an audition, the do's and don'ts. Do your best. If they ask for an alternative read, which often they do, so they might say 1 or 2 alts. If you've got 2 alternatives to the first one that you did, great. But make sure they're really, really different and really strong. That you've got another opinion about a different choice about where you would go. So it might be a different accent or whatever. So they're quite specific. I think probably they sometimes just say, look, just 1 alt or 2 alts. And if you're unsure and you're burning to do the 3, ask them. Just ask them. They might not have time to listen to it. So put your best first.
Oh, yeah.
Best first, and then the alternative takes afterwards. And sometimes, and that can differ too, sometimes they want it all on one track, the different takes on the one track, or they want them separate tracks. So it's really listening to how they've presented the audition to you, and then you send it back. But you've got to as well. It depends on your learning and your technical prowess.
Yeah.
I use Logic because I'm a Mac, and so I do my editing in Logic, and that was fairly simple to learn.
Well, that's good to hear because I've just got it and I've been doing everything in Audacity because it's free and I've had it forever. Yes. And husband said, you want to start using this? And I've just started messing around going,
yeah, Logic's great.
I need to learn
There's
it.
so much more that I could be doing with it. There's so much more
that
I could, compression or this, that and the other. But often when people are asking for, this is another definite don't compress it when you're doing an audition. Don't put any bells and whistles on. Just send them the raw file. And you send them, if they're specific and they just want an MP3, just send them an MP3. But often I send them both a WAV and an MP3, just so that they have it. But yeah, that's a long answer, but...
No, that's great.
Quite specific. Listen to and ask if you're not sure.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Can I leap from auditions to, let's imagine these young people are absolutely loving this and they're working their way up and they're getting their better equipment and getting more jobs. What helps people sustain that work over time?
Yeah, being consistent with themselves, keeping on training, keeping on working for themselves, listening, putting yourself into places that stretch you a bit. Really, as I said, dare to fail. Do some improv. Go to an improv class. I have still yet to do this.
On an improv class.
Hooray! I'm coming.
Yay! Yeah.
So that would be fun. That would be fun. Daring to fail, but being a good team player, basically listening well. Trust your instinct because they're your instinct. So trust it because it's then you know that it's coming from a truthful place. If you're trusting that gut feeling. Stay curious all the time, adaptable, and above all, know how to take direction.
Yes, that's a good one.
That is key.
What are your top tips for taking direction? Again, I think you'll say it's personal, but...
Yeah. Taking direction.
In a nutshell. Yeah.
Yes.
How can they take it well?
If somebody is in... You just say
say yes. I love that. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll do it.
It's
Even
yes.
if
It's
in
a bit like-
your mind you're going, I don't know how to do that. Say yes and give it a shot.
Say, yeah. And if you're confused and you don't have it straight in your head before you do it, ask. Yes.
Yeah.
So you mean a little bit like this or like that? Right. Yes, I've got you. Then go. Be clear. Have clarity. So that make sure that you are totally understanding what that director wants. Even if, I'm sorry to say, sometimes this happens, you've got a room full of people giving you lots of input, lots of clients giving you this, yes, try it like this, try it like that. You just say yes. Look at the engineer, have that eye contact, know that they are your friend and your filter, and just assimilate it all. Do not have any barrier to what it is that's coming at you. Because if you do, you're not going to be able to be free to deliver all the different possibilities that they might like. So, yeah, listen to the director. The thing is, it's always evolving, isn't it? So being adaptable, I think, is the key. Learning from others is essential. I mean, as I say, I'm still doing that and I'm continuing to do that, especially with new technologies continuing to change, and I'm still having so much to learn. I haven't got it all sewn up.
Everything's always changing. No, I think I like to say every day is a school day as well, having always been a teacher.
Totally is. It totally is. But, you know, when I was first asked to do some workshops for Birmingham School of Acting, which is, I do it every year now for the last 10 years, and it's been fantastic. I've learned so much with them, these fantastic students. It's just about, yes, I'm continually learning. I still have much to learn. But that's what I was going to get at, is, you know, when I was asked to do that, I thought to myself, and I can't remember how old I was. I just thought, well, me? How do I impart whatever? But then well, that thing, and which is silly. And I said to myself, now hang on a minute. You've been doing this for the last 25 years or so. You must know something. Well, yes, I do. I do. And I tapped into that to try and find out what it is that I do. And I realised that to try and explain what I do, I had to explain that it comes from a physical place for me. And all I'm really doing is sharing my experience. And my experience so far has been, the more I connected to my physical self and the thoughts and my experience, the more genuine the characters were. I mean, and I'm saying genuine, and I am talking about sheep.
Yeah.
I'm talking about,
yes.
you know,
a genuine emotion.
Different funny little characters.
I love it.
But it's got to come from a truthful place.
Yes.
Is what
Otherwise,
I'm saying.
it's not going to connect with an audience, is
no,
it?
Exactly.
And I like... Oh, sorry, go on.
That learning is consistently required. But as long as you have yourself and you know yourself and you're testing yourself and your reactions to things, noting it and going, all that for later. Yeah, that's interesting. You don't actually necessarily know and go, oh, yes, I'm going to take that note from such and such a year. It's in you. You've learnt that. It's a physical response to something that happened to you or you remember, your subconscious remembers. So
I encourage students to do this, to sort of what they see and hear and feel. Yeah, note it. Everything that you experience is probably useful to you.
Absolutely.
As an actor.
All of it is. It's all useful. And yeah, on the face of it, you know, I look like Mrs. Working all the time. I mean, yes, I'm very lucky in that I have had a success of characters in various shows, and I'm very, very lucky to do that. I believe that the natural talent that I had when I was a little thing, listening, and I'm saying talent is the listening and mimicking, I've developed that natural thing. I've trained, I've listened, I've learnt, I'm continuing to learn, and I always have done that. So I think that's a lesson, isn't it? It's just continue to evolve. The more that you're evolving, offering up an honest account for that character, you're being a vessel for that character, basically. You're honouring that character's truth. So you've got to be able to let go of, you know, any kind of ego or technical, you know, this must be like this. And you're just immersing yourself in the character so that you can be free to tell its story. You're honouring that character, even if it's a sheep, you know.
That's so beautiful. I love that. And I like what you were saying about, who, me? I can deliver a work. Similar happened to me. I was asked to lecture drama students. And when you think about it, yeah, of course, I'd done all of that and done it for years. But it made total sense. But on the surface, little old me, are you sure you want me to do it? Are you sure I can do that? But I think us being honest and sharing that, I hope it makes those younger actors go, okay, well, if I can see that they should have been doing that and they were asked, when I am then asked to do this audition or help out this other actor who's just a stage before me or whatever, I hope that they think, oh, yeah, sure, everybody feels like this. We all have the self-doubt. We all have the what, really, me? And to go, okay, cool,
we've got to
I'll use it.
Yeah, I agree. We've got to actually get out of our own way. You've got to get out of your own way and dare to fail and get on and do it, because we're only here for 5 minutes, aren't we?
Yeah.
So
This
we might
is
as well.
Advice.
We might as well just do it.
Yes.
And I keep telling myself that, and sometimes, we are a nightmare, aren't we? No, you can't do that. What if? What if?
We all have that in our heads.
What if never comes? So just be. That's why I use, by the way, bees all the time. Is because it was my father's saying, he was an actor, and he died in 2009, unfortunately, very early, and he was only 63. But a great lesson. He's still with me, obviously. And that's the lovely thing, is finding them in other ways. And so he's there whenever I see a bee or a robin, because he was a robin as well. That just lifts you up, doesn't it, and keeps you going. But his phrase was, don't worry about it, Kate, just be. Just be. And it's true. And the more you can just be yourself and explore all of the aspects of yourself, the winner that you'll be, the better you'll be. And even if you're not, at least you've done your best, your wholehearted best within the confines of who we are as humans. But, I think we're ace. I think humans are ace. I am fascinated by people, actually. I think there's a curiosity there by people, and I think that's because everyone, as I said, has their own experience, their own perspective. I'm so impressed by so many people, honestly, how they handle themselves, and I'm a bit scatty, as you can tell. I'm a bit like, right, I'll pull that. But I suppose maybe some of that has helped me in the past.
Yes.
For some of these characters, who knows? But
definitely,
I haven't got it all sewn up, guys. No way.
I don't think anybody has, and to
if
anybody else,
they're lying.
Everyone else has. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you have a truthful conversation with any human, they do not think they've got it all sewn up. But as a young person coming into the industry, you look at everybody else and you think, yeah, look at that, because you see the tip of the iceberg. And it's not the full picture. It's not the full story. And I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yes, it's just about really, you can definitely learn from so many people, from the different aspects of them, of what they can teach you, what they can train you. There is most definitely skilled voice actors out there who coach on a regular. And there's only one specific one that I would urge people to look at as and when they're ready. Not yet, and we'll put that in the show notes, because they have covered every aspect. They've been doing it for a long time, and I'm noticing a lot of success with their clients, and there's definitely something in it. So I would point you to her. She's a good friend of mine.
Brilliant. Oh, well, pop her in the notes.
Yes.
As well. Yes.
But that's for the full on works of running the gamut of everything. And she also does the radio drama reads and all that stuff. And that's the thing as well. If you can get yourself onto reading scripts, your table reads, that type of thing.
Yeah, that's a good skill.
That's really great, because now, ever since COVID, everyone's been doing that on Zoom, haven't they? Doing these, Riverside or whatever, doing these reads. And you get to learn and you get to hear and listen to your peers as well, and say, oh, I like the way they did that. How did they do that? Oh, I like that trick. It's not a trick, but it's just an effect for you. It's so worth doing. But above all, frankly, above everything, it's about connection. It's about connecting to other humans who we think are out there nailing everything. Got it sussed. No, we haven't. I'm, still trying to figure it out. We have to fight that animal every day. We have to fight that inner doubt every day.
Yes.
And the only thing you can be is you. Keep learning, keep turning up, keep trying new things, daring to fail. Try your voice box out as well. See what it can do in all the different resonances. That's fun. That's a fun bit. Trying to push your tongue to the roof of your mouth, not let so much air out, so that you can do little things like this.
I just love it.
Or you can do, go to the lower edge where you breathe out and their voices like that. And then some things with sort of a bit of attitude you can do. It sounds quite melancholic, doesn't it?
So you're using your face too.
It kind of
in your body. You can see
it's an
that.
attitude. Yes, I can bring it to mind, I suppose. So that's connecting to your voice box technically as well. So there's work you can do in that area.
Well, that was such a treat, Kate. I hope everybody enjoyed listening to that. There was just like a crazy variety in a moment of seconds. How you can just switch your voice like that is marvellous.
It's fun. It's fun to be able to do. And the thing is, it does keep you engaged, doesn't it? It's because it's curious, because you can go anywhere with it in terms of the acting side of things. I mean, I know we have to sort of slightly, when you're doing your envision things, and the stage as well. I wouldn't be going up for an 18-year-old character. I'd be going up for 40 plus, wouldn't I? So not that there's that much out there.
I think we get away with way more on stage than screen. I think screen, my playing age will be much broader for stage.
Yes, totally. But it makes for an engaging and interesting life, doesn't it? And it's worth trying. Just try these things. I think what I'm trying to say is that I think we all think that everybody's got it all sewn up. We got it right. We did it. Yes, there are things that one has done that's very proud of, and I celebrate those things. But it is about sharing it. It's about being a good team player, so much more so than it ever was. Being likable, because people are going to choose you if you're not combative, i.e., not be able to take direction. If you can take direction and you're a game, you can play the game with people and you can listen and offer valuable things. They're going to choose you over the combative idiot,
and choose you again. You'll work with people, you impress them,
and
they'll choose you again.
Generally what's happened, I think. I'm not saying I'm the nicest person in the world. Who knows? I'm very lucky to have some nice friends.
Then that's a reflection that you're a nice person.
Well,
and
who knows?
Giving this today to people, to help people,
Yeah,
that's lovely.
I hope I am. I mean, yes, I have been flitting to some notes and things just to make sure that, because I'm very tangenty. So
I was going to ask you that about now. Is there anything that hasn't come up in our conversation today so far that you wished had come up and you'd like to share?
Well, breathing.
Oh, yes.
Forgetting to breathe. Try and allow yourself to breathe. I mean, yes, sometimes when people do, they're doing a bit of work with me and they're exploring this character, they forget to breathe sometimes because we're so tense and I've got to get it right. Forget to breathe. Just breathe, will you? And of course, it's allowing yourself to really feel what you're saying. So don't forget to, it's so simple, isn't it? And the other one, so simple, don't forget to hydrate. Drink lots and lots of water. Especially, it takes 2 hours for you to, so you've got to do it 2 hours before. So it's in your body. It helps your brain think, which is something somebody over my age needs to do a lot of, because it sort of goes, the thread, come back, it goes. So keep drinking water, especially because when you're in the booth, say, if you've got to that stage, you want to prevent clicks and pops that you don't have to edit out. That you're sending it a raw file to somebody and it's not going,
It takes me ages. I notice mine and I know what I need to do food and drink wise, and I haven't done it, and it's horrible. I hate it, and I'm cutting them all out. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's that. But I think any actor of any particular genre should most definitely explore this kind of work. It's a compliment to your skills, but the discipline, it opens up so many different doors that you might not have gone through. We're all in need of being much more than the actor these days, with all of the self-tapes that we've got to do and all of that. But from an actor's perspective, though, this has actually been my number one sort of, I would say, if you want to put it in basic terms, earner occupation. It's brought me incredible jobs and opportunities, and also if it's a skill, if you're good at it, you can stand a better chance of actually earning some money from it. So you need to, explore all of that, because, it is very precarious, this job, acting. It's not for the faint-hearted, frankly. So if you've decided that it's definitely for you, you've got to just test yourself. You've got to get much more business savvy than I am. Because quite frankly, I could probably rule the world if I'd sorted my business out, I could be, selling fridges. Oh, do I want to sell fridges and cars? Well, maybe I do. Yes, I do.
I sell something I didn't believe in. But yeah, I could try and sell my skills. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, just believe in ethically what you want to, put your name to and all of that. Identify where your personality, where it fits in to the market before you invest in anything, where you think your strengths lie. And you're only going to know that by testing it out, listening to people. That is the key. And of course, with acting, listening is the number one, because it's not just about how I'm going to put these lines across and how clever I am because I can get my voice out there or down there. It's about reacting to the other actor. Your job is to actually help that actor that's opposite you, isn't it? To help them understand what you're trying to say as your character. So then that's quite nice, though, isn't it? Because then there's freedom in that. You're free. It's not about you. It's about stepping into the character's shoes. And that's something that I work on very much with my workshops is how do you step into the character's shoes? How can you do that? You have to free yourself up. Confidence is key. If you know yourself well and you know your instinctive reactions to things, trust your instinct, note them down, and play that when you're in a room full of people, which hopefully you will be, because that is my favourite place to be, is in a room full of people. Say, Secret Show, ages ago, 20 years ago plus, whatever. There were 5 of us in the room. Admittedly, I was the only woman, actually. But I quite like that. No, only joking.
It's interesting. I've had different, I've been like with a theatre group that was very mixed gender, and then I was in a film that was very masculine. And I noticed, this is so interesting you say about know yourself. I noticed that I changed a bit.
Oh, that's
I was like, yeah, mate. All right, mate. I tried. Whereas with the theatre group, I was like, yes, love, darling.
All right, lovey.
And it was interesting, and I know that I might work with them again, and I'll try to be a little bit more myself. But it is, I think, dynamic of the group in any which way, whether that's gender or age or anything, can affect. And I think as actors as well, again, you want to please, you want to fit in.
Yeah, you want to. Yes.
But come back and know yourself. I didn't need to change myself.
No, also you did that.
But it's interesting that you do it.
There's another thing that I think I would urge people not to do when, especially in a group situation, is that you know that you've got a new producer, new director, whatever. And I've been witness to this from a sort of peer situation where somebody is literally showboating. When I say that, it's that they are not trying to find the voice for the character. They're just doing a big rendition of what it is that they can do. Oh, yes, and they're just being very funny and very amusing and everyone's entertained. Oh, my God. Okay, should we get to the work now? It's great. It's quite alienating for other people to have somebody do that. I've probably done it myself in times because of nervousness or whatever.
Yeah.
Try this,
I was
try that.
going to say, I think nerves could play a part there, couldn't they?
Definitely. And that's fine, but just keep yourself in check. Just allow yourself and all those quirks to come out through the work, through what you're doing and what you're offering. Oh, I could offer this, maybe this. And yes, offer script suggestions, or if you feel that your character might do a little something else, do that. Just one other thing I think I haven't mentioned is how lovely it is when you do have a group recording. Say, for instance, for the Bob the Builder stuff, we were always there together doing a script read, table read. And it was wonderful because we were able to play and try stuff out and be a bit naughty. And some of that would actually, not the naughty things, but it would go into the script because we've developed the characters so much because we're playing. And what you're doing when you're playing, you're being childlike. So you're going back to your instincts, your initial instincts again. And so that's why it lands so well, because it's a family and it's a knitted, already sewn together crochet patchwork quilt or whatever it is you want to call it of a group, a family group story, so that it's much more genuine to the listener. It has much more.
That's another thing you can't get, is it, with the AI?
Yeah,
you can't get that interaction, like you say, that feeling, whether it's a family feel or whatever the relationships are. How wonderful as an actor to do that and bounce around and develop that. Yeah, you can't.
I mean,
get that
AI it can't necessarily play a thought. It can't play your experience. It hasn't got your voice box. Yes, actually, it does, because it's cloned now.
Might steal it.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the horrible thing. It's cloned. But anyway, we're fighting another battle there. But it just comes back to if you're enthusiastic about this, if you really want to do it and it's burning in you to do it, that's great. It's not enough, though. You've got to explore continually. And I think I have done that. I have explored continually, and I think that's what's won out, because I have made some connections. I can still make some more. For instance, I'm more wanting to explore the gaming world now. I have only done a few, and I'm going to develop Brighton because I'm wanting to make some connections with people, with game developers. It comes back again. It's a human experience to connect with people, and the more we can actually big up our human condition, the better chance we'll have of staying the course. And people choosing human will be a sort of, I don't know, a mark of a classy product.
Yeah.
The mark of something that you want to invest in.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not poo-pooing AI totally, because
it's very useful.
Incredible.
Absolutely
fantastic. But when it's about trying to sell something to another human being, and you're using this falsity, this face value thing, people are already onto you. They're onto you. They're like, oh, don't sell it to me like that. How insulting. That's what I think.
Yeah,
naively.
I agree. No, I agree. And I think there's a lot of hope there. And I had an agent on saying similar. I think she used like we use real Jersey cows for our butter. It will be like we use real human voices for our whatever it might be. And I thought, and let's look on the positive. There's a lot of negative and a lot of scare. And I think there will be, and I hope there will be, a call for the real voices, the real actors, and not just trying to make everything cheap and false.
Yeah, I mean, it is tricky for people because it is difficult, and it is, funding is a nightmare. And maybe we can use AI in that way, in doing the testing and the possibilities and what could it do, if like a little bit like a storyboard, but let's not put storyboard artists out of a job. There's so much to it, but ethically, certainly I think there's a specific company that's cloning lots of my peers' voices at the moment, and I haven't gone on there to find out whether they've done it to me yet.
Enraging.
It's really awful, because this is a battle anyway. It is an oversaturated business, and you have to really want it to be in it. It isn't just a quick fix. It's not, oh, let's just go on TikTok and I can make millions and because I'm doing a voice stitch with somebody. Yes, you can get noticed like that way. There are things that you can do in that regard, which I'm a bit shy of doing, but probably will have to join the rat race and do.
Well, yeah, I do promote this on TikTok, but I've connected back to that
this
human
is a genuine
connection.
thing that you're offering.
I've connected with some wonderful people on there. Lots of my guests I found via TikTok. But yes, you're right. I am trying to offer
it's
something
using
genuine.
the thing for the way in which that you want to use it in a genuine way, and I think that will win out solidly. Yeah.
So I think it should. It has to.
Yeah.
Are you up for a quick fire round? Just 3 last questions. Okay. And you've just got to say the first thing that comes into your head, whether it's come up earlier. Yeah, take a water break. Whether it's come up earlier or not. And actually, I'm glancing at these I've got for you. I think I know your answers already. I don't think they're going to be very tricky. Okay. Kate, one myth about voice acting.
That it's easy peasy.
Perfect. One skill to focus on.
One skill to focus on.
It's hard because you've offered me so many great skills in this episode.
Connecting your thoughts to your body.
Brilliant. And finally, and I know what your answer is going to be already, studio or home recording, which do you prefer?
Going into a studio with real humans and a real skillful engineer who can take all the pressure off you.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Perfect. But yeah, again, these students have all got to start somewhere, haven't they? And I think that's a really nice aim for them to have. It's another exciting level to get to when they don't have to do all their tech and everything for themselves.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for this episode. You've given so much of your time and your energy and your expertise today.
It's a pleasure.
Closing question. If someone's listening and they're serious about acting, where and how does the voice work fit into their journey?
Where does the voice work fit? Well, I'd certainly encourage any actor to look into this area of work. I mean, it can enhance your acting work completely. I mean, but you've got to be consistent, versatile, and confident. I mean, how you get to that point is up to you. But as with acting, talent, it's not enough, is it? So you have to want this very much to stand out. A chance of being seen and heard and consistently employed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. And if people want to find you and find more about you, your work, your workshops, where can they find you? Where would you like them to go?
Just go to my website, kateharbour.com.
Perfect. I'll link that in the show notes along with anywhere else you want.
Give us a
people
follow
to
on
you.
Insta.
Yes.
Bump my numbers up.
Perfect.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It helps.
I think you're Kate Harbour official on
I am.
Instagram.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So give you a follow on there.
Thank
Right.
you.
Again, thank you, Kate, for joining me today. I think this has been such a useful conversation, obviously for young actors who might be curious about voice work, but so much more within that, about industry, about mindset, about confidence, that you've given us so much for the listeners to take on board today. It's been brilliant to talk about the craft behind it all and the reality of building a sustainable career over time.
I'm glad you've enjoyed it. And
Thank
just
you.
remember, everybody, just be.
Just be. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Drama Coach podcast. I hope this conversation has helped you understand voice acting a little more clearly, not just as an animation or character voices, but as a skilled area of acting in its own right. You can follow the podcast, share this episode with someone who might find it useful, and follow me at The Drama Coach for more acting tips, self-tape audition advice, and honest conversations about the industry. I'll see you next time.